Hey, what's up? I have no clue if this is gonna work, just so you know. I last time I tried this on my laptop, it kept freezing. So I got a PC now. Hoping that it goes better. Alright, that's good. I'm glad. Oh, looks like I'm starting to get some dropped frames from OBS. Wonder if that's my internet, motherfucker. Alright. Uh I guess I'll just have to see how it goes. I don't know what a normal amount of dropped frames is. This is saying 15% right now. I wonder if I'd have better luck using that. Seems like what a lot of people use. There's two viewers. One of them is my personal account. But if this does go okay, I feel like streaming gives me more options for shit to do. And I figured now, while my channel's down due to this strike, is a good time to test it. It actually looks like it's not too far behind on my phone. Maybe like 5. I don't really skipping. It's more of just if the audio is okay. I'm sure no one actually gives a shit about me playing Mass Effect or anything. Fucking 10-year-old game. Not even sure what part I'm on right now. No, I haven't played Elden Ring. That's not BioWare, is it? I played Dragon Age. The Dragon Age trilogy was really good. But the problem is I'd probably never be able to play them again. Because I used to work on an oil rig. So I had a couple weeks on work, a couple weeks off. So during my week off, well, I had 2 weeks off. So during my second week off, or sorry, during my first week off, oh, FromSoft, okay. I know Elden Ring was super popular when it came out and everyone was talking about it. But no, when I played the Dragon Age trilogy, it was because I had a week off. I had 2 weeks off. So I would take like 4 days, just play all day while my wife worked. And then, you know, I could kill 4 days like that while she worked, log, 50 hours of game time or whatever and get through it during my break. But I don't have that kind of time now. And I think Elden Ring, people were saying, was like a 100-hour playthrough or something. It looked massive from what people were saying. And they were saying there was like 320 bosses, and I mean, it looked cool from what I saw. But yeah, the oil rig, man, that was not... I wasn't cut out for that lifestyle. I mean, maybe if I had been not married yet, a little bit younger, maybe single, it wouldn't have been so bad. But when you're married and you're going away for a couple weeks at a time like that, it was in North Dakota. I'm not sure if you've ever been to North Dakota. I lived in Bismarck. Job site was a couple hours away. She'd come get a hotel on the weekends so I could come see her because I was working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. It's not a good life if you're trying to have a family, I don't think. I mean, a lot of those guys out there did it, but I think that was much more of, people who just kind of ended up there. And they make good money. I'm not saying, like, you should look down on them or not do it, but it's a rough life. But, all the young guys, the ones who are doing the manual labor on the rig, yeah, I would guess it's similar. The military sounds crazy to me. I've had a lot of family in the military, and they're you know, they go away for months at a time. And it sounds tough. Like, it's really hard for me to imagine any kind of relationship with that lifestyle. I mean, there's a reason for the whole, you know, Dear John letters and shit like Jarhead, where the guy gets a video of his neighbor banging his wife and all that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the reason I took the job is because I was, my degree's in geophysics, my master's. So I was hoping to do the field work for a couple of years and then get into the office and have a more stable lifestyle. And this was actually in 2019, and the price of the barrel just plummeted. I think it was like $120 a barrel when I got there. And by the time that I left, I'd gotten 3 pay cuts in 1 year. And I think the price was down to like $30. And then 3 months later is when the COVID lockdown started. So the price of the barrel actually went negative, which doesn't really mean much. It essentially meant that there was nowhere for any of the shipping, like the oil tankers, to put the oil, because no one was leaving their house, no one was buying it. So they were just stuck. So yeah, that. Oh, what are you studying? Are you sure in college? Are you learning how to make new faces?
Cortez, what's the status on the probe we launched?
Tracking it now.
Makes you wonder. It doesn't.
Right. But then what? It plays pretty.
Nobody says we have to be friends with it. But if this thing has the rest of the Reapers worried, then we need its help.
Commander, new readings from the probe. It's narrowed down Leviathan's location. You're not gonna like it.
Let's hear it.
There's nothing but ocean. I show a concentration of structures.
Yeah, I'm not sure how delayed my feed is. I think it's like 15 seconds. So I am responding to your chats when I see them, but I guess there's a bit of a lag there. Oh shit, nice. It's a good degree. Even if you don't get into nuclear specifically, you should have no problem finding a job. Of course, you know, you hear that about shit every degree, right? Like my I started out in civil engineering at Tennessee, and I talked to an advisor because I took a geology class. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit because it's loud on my monitor. And I talked to a TA who was doing 5 seconds, not bad at all. Okay. I talked to a TA who was doing geophysics, and he told me he was doing an internship for Exxon for the summer, and they were paying him $40,000. And I was like, well, shit. Like, I don't really like my civil engineering classes. That sounds like really good money. And every person I talked to was like, oh yeah, you know, getting into geophysics, you have no problem getting a job. And of course, you know, I'm sitting there with my 4 years of out-of-state tuition debt, going to grad school, went to grad school for geophysics, started applying for jobs in January before I graduated in May. Didn't get a job till October. And I worked for the USGS doing seismology, but the only shifts they had available, well, the only shift that they were hiring for was nights and weekends. So I worked Thursday night to Monday night. And it's the government. So when you're in the government, no one retires. So I had about 15 people on my team. All of them will be there 10, 20, 30 years. It literally just depends on how old they are. I left that job 5 years ago, and I think one person has left since then. But with nuclear, you should be fine. I mean, especially, I don't know what the specifics are, but I imagine you're learning a lot of programming and stuff too. And the programmers, like, if I could go back, I definitely would have either gotten into like accounting or something money related or programming. Because my degree has ended up being, like, I got that one job for the government. I spent every Monday when I got off work for 2 years applying for jobs. Probably a couple hundred every week. Had maybe 3-4 interviews. Because the oil market's so unstable that I couldn't get into the field. Like when I was hiring or when I was applying, there was just nobody. Oh, you don't like programming? Yeah, I mean, if you don't like it, that's tough because, you know, when I was in college, I was like, I want to do whatever I can do to make money. I don't care how much I work. I don't care about anything else. And then after that job with the government where I worked nights and weekends, you know, I was home a lot because it's the government. I got you, yeah. See, physics is my interest too. And that's why I went into civil engineering. And then once I got there, I was like, oh, this is just like surveying and asphalt and stuff that I don't care about. So it was partially that. And then I was like, oh, I can go to geophysics, hopefully make a lot of money for an oil company. And it just didn't pan out. But yeah, I mean, nuclear, I think you'll have options. I have a friend who did chemical. He's doing pretty well for himself now. Not even in chemical engineering, just something completely unrelated. And I knew quite a few guys like that, you know, got engineering degrees and then end up just doing whatever they want elsewhere. Because people see the fact that you're an engineer and they're like, oh, that's good. I mean, I'm actually looking for a new job right now because I ended up in geotechnical engineering myself, which is like construction engineering. And it's killing me right now that I don't have an EIT because I never took the FE. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to be, you know, geophysics. Why would I take that? But how are you liking the classes? Are they hard? Or are you just kind of cruising through them? I guess it depends on how far in you are. Because the gen eds, they kind of try to be dicks to weed people out. And then I feel like it's not so bad once you get to your specialized stuff. Of course, with the specialized stuff, you know, if you don't get it, you're kind of fucked. This gun is such a cheat. Like, you give Garrison... Oh, I see. Did you reconsider before you enlisted, or did you do 4 years? I got you. Yeah, I like math, too. I did calc, you know, through Calc 3 and Diff-EQ and all that shit. Yeah, I definitely try to make the most out of that. It's weird, though, because at least in my experience, and maybe this will be different from what happens to everybody else, but you learn all this stuff that's like really complicated and pretty intensive to think about. And then when you get to work, all they really care about is that you're capable of learning what they want you to know. Oh, you did 4. Damn. That's tough. Well, at least you get free college, right? Assuming you're American. But yeah, you learn all this shit and you're like, man, like, I'm going to like think so much at work and whatever. And then once you get there, everything is just set up to where, you know, 75% of people can learn it. Like, it's designed because every company has money in this, right? Ah. And you got a lot of life experience then before you went to college. I've applied to some jobs in Phoenix recently. But I doubt I'll get an interview or anything. I just kind of wanted to put the applications in because I've heard good things about it. Did you actually become a cop and then quit? Or did you look into it and then just realize that it wasn't, or talk to cops or whatever and just realize it wasn't for you? Oh, shit. So did you have more of an issue with the other police or security? Or was it dealing with criminals that you were like, Nah, this ain't for me. Because I could definitely see that. I've actually... Well, I don't want to devolve into fucking hot topics here. But I've always wondered that about police. If many of them start out as just kind of normal people. And they just deal with such fucking scumbags every day. That they just become total dicks. Oh, I see. I like your username, George Hard R. Martin. That sounds like you'd be in the Geeks and Gamers chat or something. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's one of those things that'll make you fucking jaded. I've heard from people working in the VA that very same. Jesus Christ, you can hear how bad I messed up now. Very similar sentiment in the VA. And that's kind of what my experience was in the government for myself. Was just Bear the dog. How you doing? Yeah, I picked an easy game because I was gonna try to play Halo, but then I was like, there's no way I can play Halo and look at chat. I figured with Mass Effect, it's you know, you can kind of cruise. Even on Insanity, it's not hard. Yeah, I actually had a female relative who worked in the prison for like 20 years. Hated it.
We aren't getting out of here until we find it. So how do we do that?
Well, you might be able to use a mech.
Oh yeah.
Rig for diving.
Yeah, I don't know when you came in or if you just popped in. I was actually talking to Jake and Hagar earlier about how I used to work for the government. And man, being in the government, it's discouraging. Because what they do is if you're ambitious, they want you to like lose your ambition. And I don't think people really understand what that means until you've done it. But so I was a GS9 when I worked for the government. And there was nowhere to get promoted because there was only 14 or 15 people on my team. That's crazy. So I guess you're just dealing with the worst pieces of shit, acting like assholes, and you can't really do anything about it. That sounds nightmarish. But yeah, what I was saying about my job was, so I was a GS9. I worked nights, and what I used to do is I had about, what the fuck? I had about maybe 10 hours of work that I was responsible for a week. I don't want to say what the job was because then you could definitely find my actual name and stuff, because I had to do interviews with media and shit. But I had about 12 hours a week that I was responsible for in the night shift, and then my weekly workload was maybe 4 hours. So working Thursday to Monday night, I'd go in, get done. I'd go in at 11 p.m., get done my entire week of work by 3 a.m., and then I would sleep until 7 when the morning shift showed up, hang out for an hour, and then leave. And then the rest of the week, the hours that I was responsible for, I would cover, and then I would just sleep. I had a blanket and pillow under my desk. Like the government it's designed to just destroy your ambition. And what ended up happening to me was I actually used to ask for more work. I go talk to my boss like once a month. Maybe once every couple of weeks at first. For about a year. And then eventually he just flat out was like, look, we can't give you more work without bumping you up to an 11, and we don't have that in the budget. So as long as you're here and your work is done, your job is done. So that's how it operated, which is crazy. And that made me just miserable. And a lot of people were like, oh, that sounds like the life. Like, go in there and do nothing. I used to sit there and play Candy Crush all night, listen to audiobooks. I hated it. My fucking internet go out?
Good. I need to get in the water before they come back.
Roger that. Walk the mech back to me when you're ready to dive. I should check it over first.
Oh, yeah. It was awful. Awful. So I'd go in, Yep. I made pretty good money, especially considering it was my first job out of college, out of grad school. And then sorry, I'm reading the thing on OBS. It says, please use a keyframe sequence of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are not being something. Which is why I'm doing this stream, is to test this kind of shit. So... Huh. My stream status is poor. That's annoying. How do I fix... Okay, this is something I'll have to look into to see if I can lower my keyframe rate a little bit. Because I don't exactly know how to deal with that. But yeah, sorry, George Hard R. I know those jobs do pay well, which is frustrating because then people never want to leave them. So you end up with, you know, people who get paid to do nothing, really good benefits, ton of vacation time, just sitting on their ass. Let me check the stream on my phone, make sure see if I'm lagging or whatever. Oh, it looks like it's doing okay. Wonder why OBS... Okay, OBS is done beeping at me now. But yeah, those government jobs, man, they're so cushy. You really can just chill. You can't get fired. Like, you know, you can go in there hungover, exhausted. I overslept all the time because I was working nights. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, what do you do for government contracts if you don't mind sharing? Because I'm actually a contractor right now, and we were contracted by the government for construction. And the way that the contractors charge money is outrageous. I know they have to because they have to be able to pay admins and all that shit, but man, it is wild. And like the construction project itself is important. Oh yeah, yeah, I bet, man. Are you a Geeks and Gamers fan? Because that fucking name seriously looks like one that would pop up in their chat all the time. They've got some good ones. They've got one guy with a Photoshop picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but his name is Arnold Squash and N-word. I don't know how they get away with that shit. But yeah, the government, I think it's funny because when I was there, I hated it. But now, I think if I could get back into the government, I probably would. Because now I'm a little bit older. My career is kind of still upward trending, but I'm not nearly as ambitious as I used to be 10 years ago. And I wouldn't mind just kind of focusing on a cushy job with a decent paycheck. And are you like Mueller and Gary? Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. It's weird because I don't ever watch Gary's videos. Yeah, exactly. Getting there to retire, have a nice work-life balance. Yep. It's what I was gonna say. I don't watch Nerdrotic's individual videos very often, but I like him on live streams, like when he's on EFAP and stuff. Oh wow. Yep. That's so funny because it sounds like everyone here has worked for a different part of the government, and the experience for every person has been the fucking same. Like, I think it just doesn't matter. Like, my dad used to work for the VA, and he told me that it got to the point where they took away all of his duties. He couldn't get promoted or fired. That he would just kind of show up whenever he felt like, take a couple hour lunch, do 15 minutes of work, and then head out. and he couldn't get more work. He couldn't get promoted. They couldn't fire him. So yeah, it's just. Is that what inspired me to make the videos the way that I do? I would say that I draw from more of Mauler and probably Critical Drinker than Gary or Az or Jeremy or any of those guys. Like Ryan Cannell, I actually really like on live streams, but his videos are very clickbaity. You know, he can just crank them out. And I like Mauler, but sometimes as a fan, I get frustrated when I feel like they don't acknowledge the meta stuff that bleeds into the movies. Because, so I would call Critical Drinker like the middle ground for like Mauler and Gary. Like Mauler is so apolitical that even if it's beating you over the head with it, he just won't get into that, which I appreciate because most people make their living off of it. But then you have Nerdrotic and Az and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and these guys who, like, I would say Jeremy is probably the worst one, where he'll literally see like a black person in a trailer and just be like, oh, diversity. And it's like, okay. And then when he reviews a movie, if he says it's bad, then I know that he doesn't like the politics of it more than I know about the quality of the movie. And if he says that it's good, I know that it has Chris Pratt, or it's something that he views as not woke or he doesn't want to. Like Mario is a perfect example of that to me. To me, the Mario movie, he would absolutely have called woke if it wasn't the Mario brand. But he didn't want it to be woke, so he rationalized that it wasn't so that he could still like it, and then it also made him aim that viewpoint. Yeah. The meta being the push for Barbie and Oppenheimer, they'll never say they pushed it to drown out the sounds of freedom. Yeah, that was one of the weirdest things to me. Oh, shit. Fucking stream drop. How the fuck? So, the Sounds of Freedom thing was weird. Because to me, the Sounds of Freedom thing is like... it's just so transparent what the media is. Like, there shouldn't ever be a world where drawing attention to non-political issues should be politicized. But, so I got distracted there. What I was saying about Mauler and Nerdrotic and Jeremy and those guys was I like how the Drinker handles it, because I feel like he's pretty fair about focusing on the movie, but at least acknowledging the meta that's bleeding in. So I don't know how many of my videos you've watched, but that's kind of the route that I try to go, is I focus on the writing largely. And then if there's stuff that I think bleeds in, I'll mention it at the very end, because I don't want that to get in the way of the rest of my criticisms that I'm making. And some people will just completely tune out. If I were to start off being like, oh, this movie is woke culture war bullshit, yeah, Sergeant Mandibles is super nice. I actually haven't heard from him in a couple of weeks. It sounds like he has real life stuff going on. Mainly, work shit and whatever. Yeah, he's cool. I'll probably talk to him again soon. Maybe he'll finish Attack on Titan and him and I can talk about that. Because Attack on Titan, it's interesting. Because it was just so popular for so long. But then people just didn't like the ending. And I don't want to spoil it, but I think it got shit on for the same reason that the Mass Effect ending gets shit on. So, I'm playing Mass Effect right now. I assume anybody here is at least aware of it. But yeah, I like... I'm being fucking scatterbrained right now. I like that the Drinker will focus on the writing and then acknowledge the meta slipping in. And that's how I've tried to structure my channel. So like, the most political video that I did was the Civil War video. See, hold on, let me finish my thought about the Civil War video, and then I'll talk about the anime thing, because I actually do agree with you broadly. The Civil War video was one of the ones that I was actually the least excited to put out because of how much of it was about politics. But that movie, I watched like probably 10 reviews before I made my video. Because when I saw the movie, I was like, damn, like they're really shoving it down your throat. But then every reviewer was like, oh, it's so deep, and this is like what America could be like soon. And there was no politics at all. And it's one of those situations where it feels like, am I an alien? Like am I the weird one for seeing it as a political movie, regardless of what they said about it being apolitical? So that video I was really not looking forward to, and it's funny, I still get comments every single day, at least 2 or 3, calling me a right-wing nut job, saying, like, oh, the movie went over your head. And I've asked so many people, like, I don't think the movie's deep at all. It's, I said to them, like, in the comments, I mean, you can go look yourself. I'm like, I don't think it's deep at all. The message of the movie is war is bad and journalists are heroes. Like, what did you think was so deep that I didn't understand? And only one guy responded to me out of every person I've asked, which at this point is probably 100. Because I get that comment almost daily. And actually, that guy that commented, him and I had a nice little back and forth, and we just eventually agreed to disagree, which I have no problem with. But like, that movie was political as shit. And to me, that was like, it wasn't like culture war motivated like some stuff is. To me, that was a director who lives in a bubble trying to be neutral and not realizing that he's left wing or that he can't hide that bias. So that's how it came across to me. And then actually I called it mediocre in my video, but the more that I've thought about it, the worse I think it actually is. Like, it's a bad movie. If that movie took place in just Narnia, so there was no politics involved, no one would like that fucking movie. They'd be like, it was boring, I don't care about the characters, the world building sucked balls, didn't make any sense. It looked nice, and the action, people like to throw around the word gritty, I guess that's fine. But come on, man. That's a low bar for what a good movie should be. Well, it's funny that you say that, Jakin. He said, I haven't watched it, but how can anyone not see political commentary in a movie about the country at war? And one of the comments that I got very frequently was, well, it's about the American Civil War. Of course it's going to be political. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. But just don't say that you're not. Like, if you want to say that you're, like, this is a left-wing perspective of what the Civil War looked like, go for it. But don't make the movie like blatantly left wing, because that's what Hollywood is, and then try to gaslight me into believing that it's neutral. Like, get the fuck out. So George Hard R, about the anime they never stick the landing. See, for me, Attack on Titan, I thought ended pretty much the way that it had to. And I said this to Sergeant Mandibles also, that I guessed vaguely what the ending would be in, I think, the first 2 episodes. Because if you've seen the show, Attack on Titan, this is only the first 2 episodes, so it's like a minor spoiler. At this point, I can't imagine you care if you haven't watched it. But his mom gets eaten by a Titan, and his entire motivation is, I want to kill all the Titans. And then his other motivation that we see super reinforced throughout the show is that he'll do anything to protect his friends. So I thought it was pretty apparent where it was going, like as a series from episode 2, because of his characterization. Obviously, the logistics to get there and shit were weird, whatever. But, you know, that's, I don't know. To me, it ended how it had to. And I think if the ending had been quote unquote happy instead of more gray area, I don't think people would have bitched. Like Mass Effect, I think the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it since I can't imagine anybody cares anyway. Mass Effect 3, it ends with essentially you see a slideshow of all the shit that happened. And then if you don't pick Destroy, Shepard dies. If you do pick Destroy, Shepard's alive in the rubble. Personally, I would have liked maybe just like a 5 or 10 minute cutscene of just kind of tightening the ending up a little bit. I like when things close off all the loops at the end. Like to me, Return of the King, which I know people bitch about like, having 10 endings, but there's no unanswered questions at the end of it. Like you see where everyone went, you see where everyone's going with their life. Everything is closed off. All the story points are wrapped up. I wish Mass Effect had done something more like that. Like I would have been perfectly fine if it had just done like a 10-year flash forward. You know, maybe they're all meeting up to have another party at Shepard's apartment or whatever. And you just take a generic conversation about what they're all doing. Like something like that I could easily live with. And I'm guessing that it mainly happened the way that it did because EA was like, hey, we want our money now. We have investors, blah, blah, blah. That kind of just seems to be how they do shit. But as far as anime is not sticking the landing, in general, I definitely agree. Although the only thing I'll say in the defense of anime for that regard is I think that most people think that in general shows and series just don't stick the landing the way that they want to. And I think part of what makes an ending difficult, like just from a writing perspective, is, you know, when you're in the middle of your story, you can get both setups and payoffs in. The story can go all kinds of directions. You've really got a lot of freedom. You can still be pretty unpredictable. But as you get to the end, like, there are no more setups. So it's all just payoffs. And then there's also the component of, for most stories, there's only so many ways that it's going to end, right? Like if you have a superhero story, the superhero is going to win. They're going to beat the bad guy. So it's really all down to, you know, how is it done? Even though you know the ending, like if you really think about it, is there still tension? I think that's tough. I think that's kind of part of what's playing into the superhero fatigue is like that aspect of it where the ending is known. So there's an element there. I think it's hard to get that tension, that twist or whatever. Like the way that I think about it is, this is going to sound so fucking weird, but if your story starts out as a point and you have a bunch of different stories, like they're all different lines and branches, they all have to come back together to a singular point at the end. And I think that's really the issue, is that you kind of have nowhere to go with your story as it's ending, except to the place where most of the time you know where you're headed. Right? Like obviously there's some surprise endings and whatever. But yeah, so I think that's kind of the issue with sticking the landing. One of the worst ones to me was probably Seven Deadly Sins, because it did the double climax thing that I made fun of Furiosa for before I got copyright hit, where there's like a climax and you're like, okay, like, this is a good point for the story to start wrapping up. Oh wait, there's 5 episodes left, and then there's like another one for no reason, just completely unnecessary. And then you have the whole, hey Jay, what's up? And then you have the whole, you know, power scaling. I think that's probably the thing that bothers me the most with anime, is the power scaling it just runs rampant in so many shows. I just mentioned Seven Deadly Sins. That's definitely one of the worst offenders. Like, you know, they make a big deal out of fighting Oh, I can't remember his name now. At the end of the first season, I want to say like Hankins or something. Shit. He's the silver-haired guy. Anyway, he upgrades to like a silver demon. And then by the end of the series, they're fighting armies of silver demons, and no one gives a shit. They're just fodder. Like, I think the sticking the landing thing, as long as it doesn't undo the entire story and ruin it. You know, I've actually never watched Dragon Ball. I grew up like the perfect age for it too. All my friends loved it. But when I was a kid, I just did not like the anime style so much that I was like, this is so weird. I just can't get into this. It's like yelling and they look like all kind of sketch art. I watched Pokemon because Pokemon was just, you know, overcame that boundary for me. But even then, I never told anybody because I was embarrassed. Which is a little bit ironic now that I'm a fucking adult talking about anime on the internet. But yeah, Dragon Ball, from what I've heard, Goku just becomes like God as the series goes on. I was actually just listening to the EFAP the other day where they were doing their fictional characters versus fictional characters thing. The power scaling. All anime is yelling. Yeah, that's definitely a trope that I'm glad to see it's not always working now, the rage mode. But EFAP just did a power scaling thing with or not a power scaling thing, like a fictional character versus fictional character thing. And they had Goku in there. I think he made it to the finals. But I guess who was it? It wasn't ER. It was it Theo? Was saying that like he beat a person who could stop time. Like he just became more powerful than time travel or something. It just sounded insane. And that's I know I keep coming back to Seven Deadly Sins, but it really frustrated me. When you're watching that final fight, the Demon King is like a mountain and they're all just yelling and everything's just exploding over and over. And my wife was like, because she was watching it with me, she was like, what's the point in saving the country if they're just going to blow everything up? And I was like, yeah. Poor Britannia doesn't even have a chance.
Hey, you're not alone.
This was supposed to be my father's fight.
Yeah, I'm romancing Tally this playthrough also if you've got the screen on. I did Liara in the first one, Tally in 2. And then I was a little bit torn between Tally and going the Ashley route for 3. Because I never go for Ashley because she gets my nerves. But I actually do think she has probably one of the best character arcs for a side character. Oh, you mean Goblin Slayer is popular because he doesn't power scale? Yeah, Goblin Slayer, I actually was reading those books. Like the English, you know, the English official translations. And I think I stopped at like 13. I'm pretty sure they're on like 17 or 18 now for the official ones. I'm sure the Japanese is on like 25 or something. Fist of the North Star. Yeah, there's definitely some anime classics that I need to watch. I had someone recommend me Princess Kaguya. I had someone recommend me Spirited Away. Yeah, there's definitely a few that I need to watch. Then there's the classic ones that I haven't seen either, like Akira. Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I was reading your guys' chats. Goblin Slayer, yeah. So I stopped at like book 13. Because I know that it's called Goblin Slayer and that's like his thing. But I still thought that it was going to branch out. That even if he wasn't killing more than goblins, I thought it would branch out like the world would feel a little bit more like he would have a part in a bigger story, I guess. But it never really does that. Like every once in a while he'll go fuck around with I think it's just called Heavy Sword. it's like heavy sword and spear guy or whatever. Like he'll just go fuck around with them. But for the most part, it's just kind of like it's almost like he's doing all the side quests for the main story. And eventually it just got boring to me. Like, yeah, it's fun that he kills goblins and whatever, but I do appreciate the author's creativity to keep that going. But, you know, eventually it just gets kind of like, I don't want to read this anymore. Oh, it does have a major part in the bigger story? I mean, I know they tie it in every once in a while. Because right now the show has covered books 1, 2. I think the movie was like book 5 or something random. And then like 6, 7 or something. I checked it when I made my video for the show when season 2 was coming out. But yeah, maybe I'll check, but it's just sort of I don't know. Like to me, it always just kind of felt like he was just killing goblins, and then they'll bring in like they'll do like these little things in the books. I can't remember if they call them like interludes or something, where he does like you get a flash of the bigger story that's happening, but he's not really too much of a part of it, unless there's something else that I'm forgetting. I mean, I did read those all probably 4 years ago at this point. You know, up to book 10 or whatever, and then I read them one at a time. Oh, Princess Mononoke is another one that, yeah, that one comes up a lot. Yeah, so there's definitely a few that I need to watch. It's weird. I think for whatever reason, HBO actually has the rights to a lot of them, or at least they're currently on Max. Sorry, Max, not HBO, because that's a better fucking name. And so yeah, I think I need to check that out because I'm pretty sure they're on there when I was browsing through. For animated movies, I actually haven't seen that many. I've seen Your Name, which I thought was really good. A Silent Voice was really good. Suzume, which came out like last year by what's his name? Miyamaka or something, the guy that does all of those with that same style. He's I thought Suzume was pretty good. Not great, but I thought the one scene in it was like super fucking epic. It's right in the middle of the movie. I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen it. Miyazaki, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do need to watch his other stuff. Because it seems like everyone loves him, and the stuff that I've seen, I've liked. So, but Suzume, I think it's Suzume. There's one part in the middle where the main girl has to make a choice, and there's kind of like this looming threat of death that no one knows about, but it's going to kill a shitload of people. And the music for it is awesome. It's called Sky Over Tokyo. But the song itself is really good, but in the context of the movie, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, Miyazaki. I do need to check out his other stuff because it sounds like he has either almost done nothing bad or very little from what everyone says. Sorry, what was the other comment that I was trying to address? Oh, Spirited Away Akira. Yeah, Akira's on Hulu. Maybe once my channel gets back, I'll start doing those like once a week. Because there's like fuck all coming out for TV anyway, other than The Acolyte, which I'm going to cover. I'm assuming it's going to be miserable. Nothing about it seems promising. Like it just looks bad. Like it looks like the embodiment of everything that is causing Star Wars to fail right now. Just generic kind of corporate sludge with just no soul by people who don't care. Like it just seems like trash. I mean, I don't really know another way to say it. But I'm going to watch it and cover it because it's Star Wars. I've watched most of the live action stuff. I missed Boba Fett. I missed Mando season 3. Yeah. Maybe I should start doing like an anime classic a week or something. I'm about halfway through Avatar season 2. It's for the most part it's definitely been better than season 1. There's a couple episodes I thought they really missed though. It's kind of a downer. The Batgirl TV show for Acolyte, yeah. Yeah. And then of course every time I see it, all I can think of is Nerdrotic saying Harvey Weinstein's assistant about the producer of the show. But shit, I totally lost my train of thought. Picking my stupid gun. Oh fuck. Let's see, this is the problem when you don't have any friends to stream with. It's just you and you lose your train of thought. There's no one to bring you back. I was talking about anime movies and just saying how there's not shit to come out. Oh, I was saying I'm halfway through Avatar season 2. So yeah, Avatar season 2, for the most part, it's been better. There was a couple episodes early on. I think it was episodes 3 and 4 that felt like kind of like filler to me, and like they kind of touched on stuff that could have been interesting, and then just ditched it. I want to say it was episode 3 in particular for Avatar season 2, where the Earth Kingdom guy wants Aang to fight, and Aang is like, no, I think we should flee for now. And there's like an Jesus. There's like an interesting conversation to be had there about, you know, should you fight, should you run, should you peacefully resist, whatever. But then the show just kind of ditches it, and you get these weird shenanigans like, you know, with the baby falling down the big rock slide, and they think the baby's a hostage now, and then Aang slips it back later. I just went in a weird way. Like I thought that it could have been pretty interesting, especially for a kid's show, and then it kind of just ditched that line of thought. So, but then I would say since episode probably 5, I think it picked back up, and it's been pretty focused on the plot, which has been nice. I like the addition of Toph. She's been a good addition, I think, to the group. I like her role in their dynamic. And the episode that was all Zuko was probably the best episode. It's kind of crazy because when Zuko's in there, it feels to me like he's like his screen time is never wasted, it feels like. Which is like kind of crazy because he's in it quite a bit. And I think it's a really smart thing for the writers that they did. Like Aang is the protagonist, Zuko is like the antagonist, but then more of Azula is just the villain. Oh, it's Ung. Ung. Oh, they say Aang in the show. Maybe it's my accent. Although I'm from Maryland, so I'm not sure what accent it actually is. Unless white trash counts. The Nausicaa is great too. There's so much good old stuff. Curious if it holds up. I think a lot of old stuff does hold up. My guess would be that the biggest complaint you'll see, and this isn't just anime, this I think is everything, is that people would complain that older stuff is too slow. That would be my guess. Like a lot of movies, you know, back in the day, even Star Wars, like the original Star Wars, you know, A New Hope, if you watch like after that first scene where, you know, Darth Vader shows up and it's all kind of action and intense, after that point it really takes its time to get going. Like you've just got good world building, character building, whatever. So My guess is that people would think it's just slow. But I don't think that's a... I won't say it's an unfair complaint. I feel like most of the time that's just people being like, I don't feel like paying attention. Oh, really? The movie did okay. That's funny. How could they make a mistake like that? Like, it's not like you went from a book to a movie. You went from a show to a movie. Like, you can hear how they say it. Or are they trying to do the thing where they're like, oh, well, this is actually more authentic for how Chinese people would pronounce it? Is it one of those things? Say that an eye for you to watch Sergio Leone westerns and Tarkovsky's Stalker. Oh, say that and I force you. No, I'm not saying that there's no slow movies. I was just more broadly speaking that I think older movies definitely take their time. And I kind of think that's part of why a lot of stuff now, like, if you ever listen to like EFAP or Drinker, or I think even like the Friday Night Tights guys will talk about how there's essentially like a 2 action scene quota for every episode of a TV show. And then you get these nonsensical action scenes thrown in, and it kind of undermines what they used to mean. And I think that's Jake and Hagar said people have low attention spans these days. I think that's absolutely a part of it. Is that they're like, look, we need jokes, we need action. Like, it needs to be fast paced, otherwise people are going to lose interest. I think that's a huge part of it. And I'm not even sure if they're wrong. I mean, could you imagine being a kid growing up on TikTok? Like, or even just Instagram, you know, where it's just reel. And you just scroll just 5-second video just over and over and over. It has to have an effect on your brain. Their own silver timeline. Yeah. Shit, I lost my fucking train of thought. Oh yeah, about the time span thing. Like, when I grew up, I'm gonna age myself a little bit, but like AOL Instant Messenger started getting big when I was like in middle school, and then that was also when like Zanga was around, which I'm sure fucking nobody remembers, and MySpace was like the new thing at that point. Like, Facebook didn't take off till I was in high school. So, you know, I think I think that there is something to be said for needing fast paced, for needing shit to be moving. Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. Jakin said everything must be funny, which is ruined so many fucking movies. And then Jay said, I'm old and I feel my attention span is shot. I can't imagine being a kid these days. And that's what I was going to say. Is like, this stuff didn't really hit until I was already kind of an adult. And I do feel like I get that impatience sometimes. Where if I'm just sitting doing nothing, I'm like, where's my phone? Like why am I sitting here with nothing? Which is crazy because, you know, I mean, I remember being a kid in a restaurant. And like, you talk to your parents or you just sat there and behaved, you know. And now parents are like, oh, take the iPad and shut your face. Like, shut your ass up, kid. The jokes ruined Marvel. I definitely agree. Hard R. Or do you prefer George? But no, I definitely agree with you that the need, like the incessant just desire for everything to be funny, it's really undercut. And this is, I don't know if they don't understand this or if they just don't give a shit. I really don't know. But when you do this undercut comedy where you cut your own knees out from any serious moments, who's going to give a shit, you know, about your character? Like, no one's going to care. One of the moments to me that this stuck out the most, like a sore fucking thumb. Give me 1 second. One of the moments to me that stuck out for this, for being the absolute worst, for the comedy undercutting a serious moment was Black Widow. When they escaped the prison. Yeah, there's no sincerity, so I don't care. Exactly. I think that's why One Piece worked. Because it took itself seriously when it needed to with the characters, but the aesthetics were wild. But for me, one of the worst moments in Marvel was the Black Widow movie, where they escaped the prison, and Yelena and holy shit, I'm blanking on Black Widow's name. Jesus Christ. Scarlett Johansson. Fuck. It's some super Russian name too. I'm wanting to say like Vladlena. Jesus Christ. I must be getting senile. Anyway, Black Widow and Yelena are talking, and Yelena and the dad makes that joke about her being on her period, and she is like, no, we don't get our periods anymore. They ripped out our fallopian tubes, like snip, 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 and she's like making a joke out of it. And a couple movies prior, damn, I just got face blasted. In a couple movies prior, I think it was Age of Ultron, Scarlett Johansson is like lamenting how sad she is that she can't have children when she's talking to the Hulk or Bruce Banner. When she's talking to Bruce Banner, she's like, you know, holding back tears that she never will have a family because of what was done to her. And that's kind of like, that kind of thing I think is, I don't know, like to me that moment just stuck out as one that I was like you guys don't have any idea what you're doing. Was that scene in the trailer? I know there was a scene like, or was the scene in the trailer where there was no audio so you didn't know the context? I actually can't remember now. But yeah, that was a moment for me that's like not only is that I think just kind of a joke in poor taste anyway, it's a joke that you make at the expense of your own characters in the movies. Like it's almost like retroactively making fun of an emotional scene that they already had with Scarlett Johansson. It's just crazy to me that someone was like, yeah, this is totally okay. I know that scene was definitely in the trailer. I just don't know if that dialogue was. I'd have to go back and look. And frankly, I don't know if I care enough to, because that movie was to me, I think that was like pretty apparent that Marvel was done. And it was just kind of a matter of when, not if, was Black Widow. And yeah, Jay says that she's calling herself a monster to a guy who literally turns into a green monster. Yeah, I can't tell that emoji like you're sad or like a face palm like it's ironic. Because I thought it was a pretty emotional scene. But I mean, I know what you're saying about the, you know, her saying that to the Hulk. It was the fourth phase in Dead, yeah. Well, I think a lot of people were like, you know, where are we going now that Endgame is done? And after that, I think at that point, Black Widow was the next movie after Endgame, if I'm remembering correctly. And, you know, I wasn't super optimistic because I felt like, even though the movies were generally okay and generic, I felt like they were slowly getting worse. So for me, I would say by like Civil War, which a lot of people love Civil War, I was kind of like, like I think I'm just over the superhero thing, even if the movie's decent. And then Black Widow for me was the one that I was like, yeah, like this is, like it's done. And obviously they've had a couple of little upticks with, you know, No Way Home and all that. But yeah, by and large, after Endgame, it's been just a steady downslide. Short control burst. Look, I don't pick the Typhoon for short control burst, all right? I'll get the Vindicator if I want that. Well, plus, I'll be honest, I'm kind of like shooting blind and like glancing at the chat too. I mean, I can't even imagine what chat's like for people who have like 1,000 viewers live or whatever. Or someone like, you know, Tim Pool who has like 40,000 live. I mean, mine's like at a good pace right now where I can see what you guys are saying. And like take my time and look back and forth. Those guys must have like eyes in the side of their head too or something. It was part 2 of the finale. They started undercutting and got greedy. Yeah. Last superhero movies I really liked were Nolan's Batman. New ones are just action, special effects, no substance. When was The Dark Knight Rises? 2011 maybe? I think Marvel's had some good ones. But I agree they really shifted after phase 1 from substance to spectacle. For sure. Like the first Iron Man movie I really dug. The first Captain America movie I didn't really like that much, but I thought it was a fine movie. What else was there? Thor was kind of the same thing where it was just fine but forgettable. Oh, what's up, Istad? You cop. Oh, I can't say that word on here. I was going to say the not so nice word for fillator. I know Istad in real life. He's supporting the channel, which is nice of him. He's also using it to abuse the power and make me watch anime shows that he wants me to watch. Oh, the first Iron Man. Yeah, it was 2008, I think, right? Was the first Iron Man. Yes, I can say it. Oh. Yeah, fuck you. I'll just call you a fillator. I'm not going to say stuff and have to edit it. Plus, I'll be honest, I forgot to hit record. So I'm going to have to download this motherfucker anyway. It's literally 2 buttons and I forgot to hit the second one. Yeah, the first Iron Man was awesome. That era for superhero movies was good. Canceled. But yeah, the first Avengers I really liked at the time. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I know you told me to record everything. And I was literally so concerned trying to get the stream up and make sure it was working. And then I just started talking and fucking forgot to hit start record. If I could share my OBS screen with you, I would. The start streaming button is literally right above the start record button. And I forgot to hit start record. Yeah, Jay, if you join, you can. Right now, the only membership tier I have set up is $5. And you can pick a show or movie once a month for me to watch. I'm trying to limit it to 1 anime core in length. Avatar is fine. It's like 18 episodes. You know, they're short. But I don't want to... Obviously, I can't have someone be like, hey, I want you to review all of Supernatural. And make me watch, you know, 15 seasons of 45-minute, 25-episode shows. And that sort of shit. But now that it seems like this live stream is going okay, so I might try to start streaming on a more regular basis. And if I do that, maybe I can change the membership tiers up a little bit. I mean, obviously, I'm watching Avatar right now. I'm gonna watch Istad's request probably tomorrow or Friday. I'm gonna make those videos, but they won't get uploaded until the copyright strike is gone. Which I'm hoping is 2 weeks from today. But yes, that's the membership setup right now, Jay, is $5 a month. I'll watch and make a video for whatever show or movie. So, you know, if you pick a long show, I'll have to break it into parts or something. You know, can't be like, hey, watch all of One Piece. Yeah, and Istad's cheering you on. Like I said, he's a fillator. So. No, I didn't get another one. This one, well, it depends on what you mean by another copyright strike. I got a copyright strike a while ago for Reacher. That one went away after 10 days because I counterclaimed it. And then I just got one for my Furiosa video. It was only out for like 3 hours on Friday night, and then some Indian company hit it. They're called Mark Scan Enforcement. If you look them up, they're an Indian company. I'm assuming hired by big corporations here. Oh, nice. Jay became a member. What's up, Jay? Again, tell Mrs. J I said hello. But yeah, so the second copyright strike was for my Furiosa video. I counterclaimed it on Saturday. YouTube denied it. I had to resubmit it Monday. And then I wrote out in way more detail why it was fair use. And YouTube allowed that one. So assuming that this Indian company doesn't actually file a lawsuit against me, it goes away in 10 business days, so 2 weeks. So the reason I don't want to upload the video during this 2 weeks is because YouTube, if you have a strike on your channel, heavily suppresses it. Like my last time that I had a strike, I made 3 videos in that 2 weeks. None of them got over, I think, like 20 views. But they were all single digits. One of them got like 15. Because essentially it takes you out of the algorithm. And with a channel my size, you know, if I'm not in the algorithm, I have 740 subscribers. Not all of my subscribers are going to watch it. So I essentially get no one to watch it. So I'm going to make the videos during this strike time. I'm going to put up a couple bullshit videos. I actually had one that I was going to abandon, but I figured, you know, I'll throw in a couple of videos just because YouTube also punishes you if you go a long time without uploading. So, like, say I took a month off and just didn't upload anything. When I made my next video, I'd pretty much be starting over as far as like how the algorithm works and how it favors me. Like even with this live stream, I'm debating if I need to do like a Filthy Casual live channel and then put my live streams there. I haven't decided yet. Oh, look, Bear the dog became a member too. Thanks, guys. So I think what I might do for these different tiers, because if I'm going to start live streaming, what most streamers do, from what I've seen, I just checked out a few channels that I follow, is they just kind of have like shout outs and stuff. They don't really do anything special, but then they might have a tier that's like $25 a month or $50 a month, and then do like a members only stream once a month. So I don't know. I don't know. Because right now, I mean, with like my members, I think literally just doubled in the last 5 minutes with Jay and Bear the dog. So, you know, with 4 members, I think it's still okay. My only concern is that if my channel keeps growing, and just say I have, let's just say 20 members, you know, my concern is that I'd have 20 requests and I would either not be able to get to them all, or that would just be literally all of my time. Jay said, my inner struggle is to choose something to review. Is classics education or sadism? Let's see if I can make you guys Mods and such a fucking boomer. Oh, here we go. Okay, so how much power should I give the mods? Let's see. So there's managing moderator, which can manage blocked words and change chat modes, and also has the capabilities of a standard mod. I guess I'll just make you guys standard mods. I don't know if I need you to block words. Fuck it. You can be managing moderators. Okay, so there, I think iStad just became a mod. Make Bear the dog is a mod. Make Jay a mod. Jake and Hagar be one. I think that's everybody. Although I'm not sure how much being a moderator means if every person in the chat's a moderator. Yeah, of course. The later iStat's the first one to go straight to banning people. Oh yeah, and for the request, obviously if you put them in a live stream and I read it out, you'll know that I saw it. You'll know that I saw it. Otherwise, you can just comment it on any video. It all comes down to who has the biggest stick. So yeah, if you want to make a request in general, just put it in a comment, and as long as I acknowledge it, you'll know that I saw it. Like, make sure that I respond to it, please. If I don't respond to it, that means YouTube might not have notified me, because it does that shit sometimes. I've heard good things about The Expanse. Jake and Nagar, I have the power. But yeah, just if you when Jay and Bear, because I already got Zega and iStat's request for this month. So Jay and Bear, just comment in a just comment on a video, you know, what show and season or movie or whatever you want me to watch. And as long as I acknowledge it, you'll know that I saw it. But YouTube is funky. Like, I went months without realizing that sometimes YouTube just stops notifying me when a certain person comments. So like, if people, like, if a lot of times what would happen is, like, say some guy commented on my video, I respond, he responds, we go back and forth like 3 or 4 times, YouTube will just stop notifying me that you've commented, so that I just don't fucking see it. The Expanse is okay. Yeah, I thought about that too, because I've heard that, well, and this is just loosely what I've heard, is that it was generally faithful to the books for like 3-ish seasons, and then kind of veered off into whatever it wanted. That's what I heard. But I haven't watched the show or read the books, so I'm sure you can find somebody who's done that. I guess for this first stream, I'll just leave it up on my main channel so that people can see it. And then I might have to create the new channel and then pick maybe like a set time for me to start streaming. Maybe like Sundays at lunchtime, like Sunday morning-ish, like lunchtime Eastern time in America. I don't know what that is for GMT. I'd have to look it up. Okay, so Jay asked what request I have so far. So Zega's first request was Avatar Season 1, and then he used this month for Avatar Season 2. iStat requested an anime called Plastic Memories. And I know he has some other shows he wants me to watch later on too. Plastic Memories is a 13-episode, 1-season anime. No one has done any movies so far. I wonder why why iStad's little membership thing is green and your guys is blue. That's weird. Oh, maybe because he's been one longer? He's been one for a couple months? I wonder if that's how that works. All right, well, yeah, there's no rush. I said it says because he's a second month member. Yeah, that's what I figured it was. VIP. Hard R says you have the biggest dick. Okay. Well, I want to do this test stream. For streaming, I'd recommend Dark Souls. Oof. Yeah, I heard Dark Souls is pretty brutal. Are you interested in any old non-anime genres? Yeah, I watch all kinds of shit. I just haven't covered a lot of older movies because, I mean, frankly, it's time consuming to make videos. Like I would love to do a video on like A Few Good Men, but I don't want to spend a week making a 2-hour video on that only to have, have it get 50 views. Like there is like a practical side to it. But, and don't worry about genre. I mean, you're the one paying to pick what you want. The only limit that I might put is if you were to go with some crazy like like hentai or something that was like a snuff film or just like it would have to be pretty outlandish for me to not do it. So, oh, hey, Alpha. I'm actually wrapping up now. I'm explaining the memberships to people. You can see in the chat. The video will be up on the channel. I think the first half I spent bitching about the government and my job. And chat was kind of talking about their jobs too. Bear the Dog says Korean melodrama. You know what's funny is I'm actually watching a show called My Demon right now, which is a Korean rom-com. My wife and I are watching it together. It's really good, actually. I'm probably going to make a video on it once this strike is going. I hope you're doing well too, Alpha. Alpha Dragon Wolf Warrior. Here, I'll make you a mod since you showed up. You beat the buzzer. I'm going to have the only channel with 100% fucking mods that watch me. Oh, Jesus. Jay's going dark. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap up. I actually have to go eat dinner. It's cool you guys to hang out. Also, if you guys want, after this is done, if you want to put in the comments when you prefer that I stream, I think I'm leaning towards Sunday at like noon Eastern time. I don't know how long I'll go. I guess it depends just on kind of how I'm feeling and how much I had to talk about. But yeah, for Jay and Bear and the guys that the guys that just became members. Just yeah, you were. That's why Alpha, you were made a mod. That's why I was joking that I had 100% mods in my chat. But yeah, for the guys that just became members, I'll probably consider this your June request to give myself a little bit of time since it's, May 29th. And then, just put your request in a comment or whatever once you think about it. And as long as I respond, you'll know that I saw it. Yeah, just let me know when you're ready. There's no rush. I mean, you guys are the fucking members, so. But, those Italian exploits will get people banned. Yeah, so thanks for being here in the chat and hanging out with me. I'll probably just continue Mass Effect next time, just so there's something on the screen. And that's kind of easy for me to play and talk to you guys. And maybe next time I'll try to have some prepared topics. Today, I really just wanted to make sure that the stream worked. And it seems like, for the most part, it was fine. So, that's good to know that it was just my laptop and not my fucking ISP. members / mods. Yeah, you guys are all like super duper VIPs. Now, so yeah, if you guys want to leave comments, let me know if you have a streaming time preference. If you have if you figure out your member request, and if you have any suggestions for what I should do for the different tiers for members. Because I might just do one that's like $2, just if people want to support the channel in general. Bear the dog, no lag or anything, vid quality fine and all good. Yeah, iStat helped me pick out the PC, which was really helpful. And he also votes for lunchtime Sunday. Well, for your bitch ass, that'd be breakfast anyway, because you're in California. That's right, I'm fucking doxing you. Everyone's gonna come find you now. All 5 of my filthy casual mods. Okay, but yeah, you should be able to comment as soon as I end this. So thanks for being here. I'm gonna go eat dinner. I'm fucking hungry. And I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.